Alright, this is part 3 of Just Be. And the reason this part 3 is I know an hour video you won't watch. You know, you have the attention span of a gnat. And it's important. It's important you hear this. And I just want to say that you don't want to rush this whole thing. Um, I didn't create the God code overnight. I worked on it for months and months and months. And I know it seems so simple when you say, how can I work on it for months and months? And it was just processing in my head. I never wrote it down. Uh, I had worked on other codes that weren't the God code, but were related in the same way. And in the process of doing that, it grew. It was like having the tire of a car and then the chassis of a car and then the engine of a car. And eventually you have a car, and that's what I did. I grew. I started small. And, you know, I think for the message I'm trying to send here in this video is don't rush it. Don't rush it. I'm not saying don't do it, but if you think you're going to go into a room and just be and come out with and solve the world's problems, uh, I got another story for you, and you're going to be sadly mistaken. Uh, it's the universe. You're working with the universe, and the universe works on its own time. And, it's like somebody who runs a marathon and they start running, and it's like their brain has already won. And, but there's that 26 miles in between that they have to conquer. And there's a lot of um, obstacles, a lot of reasons to stop, there's a lot of reasons to say, I'm not going to make it. And they have to conquer all those before they get to the win. And they might not win even though. And that's what you're doing. Uh, you know, time is irrelevant. Time is a fantasy, but time is real. Time is a fantasy, it's an illusion, but it's real. And it has to be real. We couldn't live in this world without time. Not with our minds, not with our souls, not with our brains, because they're all designed around time. It's like trying to live in this world without oxygen. Your body, your cells in your body, your brain was designed around oxygen, and it needs oxygen to live. Well, you need time to live. And that's why they say things I must earn, time, it takes time. And nature is built on time. A caterpillar is born and it lives for so long, and then it turns into a cocoon and becomes a butterfly. Well, without time, it couldn't do that. So time dictates how long it's a caterpillar and how long it's a butterfly, and then turns back into a caterpillar through its eggs. So, and the funny thing about caterpillars destroy everything in their wake. When you have a lot of caterpillars, your trees, your shrubbery is in trouble. As long as it's something the caterpillar eats. They don't eat everything. But whatever they eat is gone. But when it turns into a butterfly, in the process of turning into a butterfly, when it goes in the cocoon, it liquefies. That's why there's no part of a butterfly that looks like a caterpillar, because it totally liquefies and reforms as a butterfly. But as a butterfly, it doesn't destroy, it creates. So everything it killed comes back to life and becomes a new forest, a new environment from the butterfly. And that same forest is what the new caterpillars will live off of and eat before they become butterflies and recreate the forest. And it's just a cycle that keeps going on and on. And that's time. That's what time is. But the present and the past don't exist. It's only the present. And the whole point of this story is you have to go through what you have to go through. You have to go through the 26 miles to get to the finish line. And you're not even started the race and you want to win. And that's why you won't win. So I just told you to just be. You know, monks go on the top of mountains in their monasteries for years and years and years to reach enlightenment. Some achieve it, some do not. I would assume most do not, but they don't give up. And the key to achieving enlightenment, is patience. You have to be extremely patient. Patience is a virtue. And a lot of you people do not have patience. You might think you do, but you don't. And we live in a disposable, quick, 5-minute food windows. Our whole system is designed against patience. You know, hand in something late at work and see what happens. It might be better than what you would have handed in if you handed it in on time, but they don't care. It's late, and that's all they care about. So, and if you say, well, it's better, they say, well, you should have done that, but done it on time. It's always the time. Patience is hard in our society. That's why monks disappear from our society. They go to monasteries that are very hard to reach because they're getting away from society because it hurts them in their attempts to get enlightened. Now, it's a personal quest. It's not, um, monks don't teach a course. They do amongst themselves, but they don't, there's no monk university, you know. So it's an inner journey, not a 26-mile outward journey. It's a 26-mile inner journey. And that's how you talk to the universe, or learn how to talk to the universe. And most importantly, learn how to listen to the universe. The universe doesn't care what you have to say. I mean, it will listen to you, it will give you feedback in its own way, but you're here to work for the universe. Whether that's good or bad, that's up to you and the universe. Now, like I say that you should, in my opinion, my advice to you is to stay away from gambling, stay away from drugs, stay away from alcohol, smoking of any kind, anything negative, anything that has a negative effect on you, on your body, on your physical and mental state. Stay away. If you have a parent, if you have a girlfriend that drives you crazy, stay away from them because it's not going to help you get good messages from the universe. If you live on the dark side will give you messages. Uh, you know, my record collection does not suffer because the lack of drugs or alcohol. But on the other hand, the bands that created that music, and that music is bad to listen to. It's bad for your psyche. It's bad for your um, nervous system. It's bad to listen to. It's bad for your soul. But the people that created it suffered as well. John Bonham died from swallowing his own vomit after a night of drinking. Um, Ozzy Osbourne had a horrible life. He had Parkinson's. He crashed his four wheeler and broke his neck. I mean, all these bad things happened to him. They partied with the dark side, and the dark side is not a fun party. It might seem that way from the outside, and that's the whole point. From the outside, it looks like they're winning, but and I can say I partied with the dark side myself for many years. I was a crackhead. I was a pothead. I smoked cigarettes for 30 years, and I don't touch anything now. I don't touch a single drop, smoke anything ever, and it's legal, and I still don't touch it, and I never will. Point is, I did it and I learned, and you might have to do it and learn too. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but be prepared to suffer for it because suffering is learning. It's like when you spank a child, the pain makes them learn. Pain makes them say, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. That hurt." That's why they put you in jail. To say you don't want to steal that because this is where you're going to go if you do. It's the whole mental. And when you're working with the universe, you want to stay on the positive side, you know, because it's karma. Karma has a way of getting you when you least want it to. You know, it's like you'll be driving to your daughter's graduation that you've been waiting 20 years for, and your boss will call and say, "Ah, you got to come in. We got an emergency," just to screw you and say you can't go to your daughter's graduation because your boss needs you all of a sudden. And that's a crappy example, but an example. And that's how the universe gets you. When you least want it to, when you least expect it. You just made all the payments on your house and it goes on fire. It's just that's the way things are. So, but if you stay in the good, now the good doesn't mean you're going to live like Bill Gates. Probably not. But like the God code, it doesn't, it changes the world, but it doesn't make me rich. And that's not the point. I didn't make the God code to become rich. I made the God code to save the world from binary code, which is going to destroy the world. And that was my goal. It's just like Ralph Nader made the seatbelt and took the patent and made it open patent, open license. Anybody could use it so that it would be in all the cars. And he saved a lot of lives with seatbelts, you got to admit. But he didn't make any money off of it. And that's what the God code is. Same line of thinking, same line. But the universe set me up with that. The universe gave me the God code. Took a while. Took a while. But the God code is, as you'll see if you read the paper, it says 12/15/2025. 12/15/2025 is 3/12/6/15/2025, 9, 369. And the whole God code is 9. So Tesla said in the 1800s, I believe it was the 1800s, might have been the 1900s, early 1900s, that 369 were the most important numbers in the universe, and that 9 was the most important of all those numbers. And they're 369. It's divine timing. And that's why it had to be made on that day. I had worked on it for a year or more, but I hadn't come up with what you see until that day. I had other codes, I had other ways of changing the binary code, but this is the quintessential answer to the problem. And not to the other codes, which are on author at author J Godfrey on X.com. Not that they won't work; they will work for different things, or it could work for a different way. But the God code works for everything, and it's just you're not going to save the world or change the world in a day. I'm saying just go in your bed, turn off everything. I mean, I know you're not going to have the quietness of a top of a mountain, but do what you can and just breathe and just relax. And whether you get a message or not doesn't matter. The fact that you're trying, the universe knows you're trying, and will, for lack of a better word, reward you for trying. And if you do it without drugs, and do it without alcohol or any of those things, then it'll keep it positive. The reward will be positive. It may not be $1 million, but maybe your wife will say, you're much nicer lately. I can talk to you more. Something positive in that way. Not that you won the lottery. That's the devil. God loves me too much to let me win the lottery, and that's why I don't play anymore. But, it's just, I want to see you have a positive, good life. And don't get caught up in the news and all that's happening with the president and the Congress and the wars of the day, because none of that matters. It's a distraction. It keeps you away from the universe. Because that's the dark side. Wars, president, that's all the dark side, trying to keep you away from the universe, which is trying to bring positivity into your life. So you need peace and quiet. You need to relax. You need to feel safe and unrushed. And forget time. Don't wish time away, but just take your time. Life is too fast anyway, so just relax. Don't rush.